Hey everybody, what's up? It's your boy Brian. I hope that I'm not being too presumptuous by saying that I'm your boy, but I try to be your boy. And one guy I know is your boy is Matt Butch Cleaver Burke over
Oh,
here.
what's up,
And
Will?
to, and tonight we're going to be talking about Stuart Gordon's classic H.P. Lovecraft's Reanimator.
Mm.
One of my favorite bands. Actually, I would say my second favorite band. First favorite band, of course, Black Sabbath.
Mm.
I shouldn't even have to explain that. But my
Mm-mm.
second favorite band is this UK outfit called Fields of the Nephilim.
Mm.
And on their first record, they have a song called Reanimator. So whenever I hear Reanimator, I just want to go, Reanimator, Reanimator now. Maybe maybe I'll sing that for like a special like crusty old goth stream or something like that. But think about putting one of those together. Because Peter Gilmore did this cool thing where he had like a bunch of like old crusty punks, right? Reminiscing about like the 80s and the 90s and shit, and that was fun. And I've still got like a lot of my old goth gear, you know what I mean? Get gussied up and everything, and maybe find like a wig, you know, that like makes you look like I looked in the 90s with like hair like halfway down to my ass. And oh well, how things change. Anyway, Matt, did you see any besides Reanimator? Did you see anything this week that you want to talk about, or any horror news or anything like that?
Well, you know what? I did read. I didn't see anything other than Reanimator, but I read a book that I backed from Alterna called Blood Realm. I read the first two issues
Ooh,
of that, and it's a dark fantasy comic. It's basically like imagine if Lord of the Rings was in Mordor, like the whole fucking movie, was just in
D-
Mordor, and there's different
ding 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 ding
regions.
ding ding, dude, sold.
Yeah, so that's basically how I would sell it, but it's just fucking metal as fuck. And when I did a review on it, but I just kept saying this is metal and fucking Robert E. Howard Tolkien. I must have said it at least 4 times, but that's what I got. You know what I mean? I got like imagine if you're experiencing because I just read the first 2 books. He's coming out with a fourth one, and I got a third one, and they're cheap as fuck. They're from Alterna. They're like $5 each or some shit because they're
We
on
love
newsprint,
Alterna. Yeah,
and
man.
they're told from 2 different perspectives, and there's all these different races, and one of the main racers is a goat kind. It's a goat race, and they're called the Satyrians, and they're from Satyria because they're satyrs, And
Right,
there's
right,
this
right.
dude named Gorn, and he's got like this fucking blade arm, and I've been wanting to read the book for a while, but yeah, it's fucking definitely a horrific, dark fantasy book. So definitely, yeah, I would talk about that. I recommend the shit out of that, and I watched Reanimator for the first time, so that's basically what I got into
Awesome,
this week.
awesome. What's the name of that comic again?
Blood Realm.
Blood Realm. Oh, dude, I'm gonna be all over that. Like,
He's got the campaign up right now too. It's got like 7 more days left or some shit.
oh, does it
And
really?
yeah,
Okay,
dude's
okay.
name's Robert Geronimo. He's got a YouTube channel too called Geronimo Draws. Really
You,
nice guy. Real nice guy. He's I think he's over on your side too, over in Staten Island or some shit.
oh no shit.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the one of the things about the Lord of the Rings is that we never really get to see inside Mordor. It's pretty much
Yeah,
left to our imagination.
yeah,
But the couple of pages where Tolkien is describing Mordor, it's
yeah,
metal as fuck
yeah,
and horror as fuck. I mean,
yeah,
there's something about high fantasy and horror that go together like peanut butter and chocolate. Always
yeah,
has, you
yeah. And then
know?
if you throw like metal in there, it's like a s'more. You know what I mean? It's like the
Yeah,
marshmallow.
baby. Yeah,
Um,
baby.
yeah,
Oh
or a good
man, I'm all over
score.
that.
You don't have to be metal, but it could be maybe Wagner's doing something for it. Danny
Oh,
Elfman or I don't know. There's a million other
uh,
motherfuckers that could throw down,
oh,
for
what? Oh
that
yeah,
stuff.
without a doubt. I know some
Yeah.
people don't like when modern music is put in period pieces or fantasy pieces. You
Yeah.
know, like the Call the Conqueror soundtrack had like a lot of
Mm.
metal guitar. It
Yeah,
was
I
like an
seen that.
orchestral score, but I love that shit. I think that that's cool.
Yeah. No,
I
it's
mean,
that shit's awesome, dude. Oh,
if
fuck yeah. I
it's
mean,
metal,
like a
it's
band
fucking
like everybody
metal.
fucking hates that a band that everybody hates and I don't give a
Yeah,
fuck. I fucking like
yeah,
them.
yeah.
But they do combine like metal and sympathy is Demi Borgir, you know. and
oh yeah,
they're in a lot of movies too, and they have shit like that that's awesome as fuck. You know, and they've had like a lot of cool drummers too that have been in a bunch of bands and shit. You know.
Metal's all about the drums, dude.
Oh yeah, dude. I think
People don't understand that. They think it's all about the guitars. No, it's about the drums, specifically that double bass.
The double bass, but I also think too, like I think the guitars too. I think and like the accenting of the double bass. So if they're both doing the same thing at the same time, you know, just accenting each other, it's going to be that much more oomph. And then maybe if the bass players, I don't know, doing something as well, you know, or something different too, it kind of adds a little more flavor. But
there's a I don't know if anybody remembers this, but one of the trailers for the original Hellboy movie, the Guillermo del Toro one,
had Demi Moore in it.
Yeah, it had Dimmu. And Prodigies of the
Great Apocalypse.
Prodigies of the Great Apocalypse.
I seen them in concert too. They're pretty awesome, dude. You know, and during that time, that was like I think that was like their best era. You know what I mean? Like they had a bunch of different stuff, and I mean everybody hates them though. The whole black metal community hates them for the most part.
Why?
Because they sound so good. They're so polished, and they have orchestras.
Is it because like hipsters took over black metal? Like black metal is huge in Williamsburg.
Yeah,
right?
Well,
Williamsburg is.
I mean, at least they're from Norway, dude. They're from Norway. They're fucking. You know, they made kind of money on it. They became big. I mean, I think the singer got married to Nicolas Cage's ex-wife. Like they got pretty big. You know what I mean?
Oh my god,
pretty popular. I think they got the key to Cleveland.
Wait a second. He married Lisa Marie Presley.
Not her, a different wife, I think.
A different ex.
Yeah, and then his son
would have been crazy.
Weston Cage started a black metal band, and they kind of sounded like Demu a little bit, but without as less, like not as much orchestra. You know what I mean? But they're just they're just too polished sounding for most. You know, they're not. I don't know. It's not supposed to be polished. It's not supposed to be mainstream. You know, it's just I don't know. Whatever. But I like some of the shit. Like some of the shit sounds like Robert E. Howard. They have a song called Demi-Borgir. It sounds like it was taken from. It sounds like a Basil Polidori song. That's what I'm talking about. You know what I mean? I'm not like
right.
I don't give a fuck about that shit too much, dude. I'm more just into the music and some of the lyrics and for metal.
People get hung up on labels and hung up on classifications.
Yeah.
I'm not anti-label, right? As long as you realize that labeling, because let's face it, we're human beings. We like to label things for the sake of convenience.
It works. It works out. It's good. Especially with metal, dude. There's so many fucking genres. I mean, you play Brutal Legend. You played Brutal Legend before?
No.
Jack Black? Okay, so you go meet Ozzy. Ozzy's in the motherfucker. Lemmy's in the motherfucker. Halford's in the motherfucker. They're all in the game. They're all different, like kind of like major characters that you go to where they have like stores or some shit. Ozzy's just like a metal god where you take your hot rod there and he soups it up and gives you different fucking engines and shit. Well, anyway, you eventually you get a car stereo and each channel is a different genre of metal. So all these bands put all their different genres of metal in there. So you got everything from black metal to like new metal to thrash, new album, doom, you know, classic, power, heavy, thrash. You know what I mean? And me personally, I like all genres of metal. I don't fucking.
Me too.
You know, I mean, I have my favorites, obviously, but I like the Scandinavian shit the most. But I listen to everything. It's fun, dude. You know, it's a broad blanket. I was a big fan of back in the day.
Was never really a big fan of Mayhem. Always thought Mayhem was like kind of. But Enslaved was always a big fan of them.
Yeah, they're cool. Immortal, I liked Immortal too. Bathory was pretty cool. My little brother, he really got into
way back.
My little brother got really into black metal and stuff. He really loved Bathory a lot. And,
dude,
that band really fucking paved the way for a lot of different, you know, even for the black metal movement. Them and Venom, I think.
Venom, of course, totally underrated. The way I would describe black metal to like somebody that's like not familiar with it is like imagine Venom if they were serious.
Yeah.
Right? Because really that's where it comes from. It's like a bunch of people that listen to a bunch of Venom songs with, you know, and Venom was very tongue in cheek.
Yeah.
You look at the back of those records. Yeah, they're having fun, right? They're
so basically Slayer, dude.
Yeah.
And, Motley Crue, like, I mean, again, you're going into a different subgenre of metal. And I mean, whether we like it or hate it, they're fucking metal. All that glam metal, hair metal, whatever you want to call it, it's fucking metal. You
Yeah,
know,
I agree. I agree. It's
sorry,
shit metal. Yeah, yeah. I mean, a lot of it's. I mean, I was never a hair metal guy.
Limp
I
Bizkit's
was.
metal. I'm sorry, it's fucking metal.
Yeah, it
I don't.
is.
It
I
is
don't
what it
like
is.
it.
It's rap metal. I don't really like it. I liked it
Right,
as a
but it's a
kid.
subgenre.
Yeah, when I was a kid,
Right.
I was into all that shit. I liked Korn and fucking Limp Bizkit and but I mean before that, I liked Van Halen and Pantera. You know what I mean? That was like what I was listening to as a kid. You know, I liked and I liked the fucking grunge shit. I liked some grunge shit back when I was a kid. Some of it was cool.
Oh
But
yeah.
again, I was young. You know what I mean? And you
Right.
know what? I consider that shit kind of metal too. There's some bands that like
Oh,
Alice
without
in
a doubt.
Chains. To me, that's heroin metal. You know, like it's
Yeah,
fucking
that's
crazy
exactly what it
sounding.
is.
You
That's
know,
exactly what it is. Yeah.
Soundgarden did some metal shit. They went into some like Sabbathy sounding shit. You know what I mean? But
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I remember the weird thing about grunge was I remember in the 90s alternative music scene, suddenly alternative music was starting to become mainstream.
totally,
And,
yeah,
you know, we were aware of like the grunge scene in Seattle, that music was making its way out. But if there was any band that you thought was going to be like the band, it was going to be Soundgarden. And it ended up not
yeah.
being them. It ended up being Nirvana and Pearl
Pearl
Jam.
Jam, yeah,
You know, I'm not a big fan of, but you know, whatever. There's no question that, you know, I mean, because what those scenes were descendants of the punk rock scenes, the metal scenes. It's
yep.
just take a little from here, take a little from a little from there, and I think that that's ultimately creatively a good thing. I mean, as writers and artists, we're taken from, you know, different genres all the time. You
Hmm.
know, I make like there's one thing I'm like I wish I was great at horror. I mean, I'm doing my first horror comic. I can't talk about it because of a NDA that I signed. But I like to think oh, like I've always wanted to be like the horror guy. But I discovered that like that's not my thing. My main thing. My main thing is like hybrids,
Mm,
is like
that's
cross
cool.
pollinations. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like
absolutely.
Six Gun. You know, just taking like Mighty Joe Young and a western and putting that shit together. Um, there was some news this week about Hammer. I said
Hammer
Hammer
time.
Studios. Yeah, man. Anybody who knows me knows that, well, the Hammer stan I am. Love me some Hammer. Let's see if I can share the screen here and we could take a look at the story.
You ever listen to Amon Amarth? They're pretty
Yes,
popular. I like
yes.
them a lot.
Oh,
Speaking of
uh,
Mountain Doom, that's Mountain Doom in the Lord of the Rings. That's the name of it. Is Amon Amarth.
right. Yep. Count Grishnak was like Grishnak was one of the orcs in
And Shagrath from Vinny
yes,
Borgir. He's the fucking
yes,
orc. That's
yes, yes,
hilarious.
yes. You know, it is. It is. I love that shit. Let's see. Your browser has blocked your screen. Click the screen icon in your address bar to allow access. My address bar. Where the hell is my address bar?
Oh shit, we got Jay Dollar in the chat. What's
J
up, Jay
Dollar
Dollar?
Dog. What up, dude? Oh, here we
We got
go.
Darren Wagoner.
Yeah,
Hail.
man.
What's
What
up,
up,
brothers?
Hale? Everybody, thank you so much for joining us tonight. We are going to be talking about Reanimator by Stuart Gordon. If you haven't seen it, oh boy. The link to the movie is in the description. You can watch it for free on Tubi with commercials, but it is unedited. And that's the important part.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Reanimator. I remember when this first came out, it was every now and then there'd be like a low budget movie or a
Mm-hmm.
low budget horror movie that it became hip or trendy for critics to like.
Mm-hmm.
And Reanimator was one of those movies.
Mm.
Like the critics were really nice to it.
Oh shit.
Yeah, which was kind of surprising. It was produced by Charles Band. Charles Band is the son of Albert Band, who made horror films like I Bury the Living and Face of Fire, which isn't really a horror movie, but it's an absolutely brilliant and beautiful adaptation of a Stephen Crane story called Face of Fire,
Mm.
about this guy during like the Civil War era who runs into a burning building to save a child, and unfortunately his face gets hit on the head, and his face gets all burnt up.
Oh fuck!
And then he becomes like this like spooky figure in the town, and people are getting freaked out by him, and it's heartbreaking because it's just like, dude ran into like a burning building to save a child. You realize that's why he's fucked up. But if you get a chance to see it, check it out. It's a really great movie. Anyway, Charles, an Albert Band was a Italian immigrant. His son Charles Band ended up being a producer director. What Charles Band does is he will start a studio, close it, disappear for like a year or two, and then open a new one. This was during his Empire movies phase. This was around the time that he was doing, I don't know if you remember the 3D kind of like Resurrection, like the very brief one. Well, no, it was, Piranha 2, I think, was in 3D, although I don't remember that getting a theatrical release. At least I didn't see it anywhere. I remember just seeing it on TV. But there was a couple of Italian movies. There was Coming at Ya, Treasure of the Four Crowns. They re-released A House of Wax with Vincent Price.
I've seen that one back a long time ago, and I've seen the remake a long time ago too.
The remake, which doesn't have Charles Bronson.
Right.
Because see, they should have gotten Robert Bronski, the deepfake Charles Bronson, for that. Because Charles Bronson is, if you don't remember, Charles Bronson is actually in House of Wax as the villain's assistant.
I don't even remember, but that's crazy.
Yeah, well, he's kind of in the background. But then Charles Band put out 2 3D movies. One of them was called Parasite 3D, and not to be confused with the recent Korean movie that came out in 2019. That's notable also for having the film debut of Demi Moore.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah. And he also made another one, which was like a kind of Mad Max ripoff called Metal Storm, The Destruction of Jared Sin. Oddly enough, Jared Sin does not get destroyed in Metal Storm, The Destruction of Jared Sin. Although that's not as bad, that's not as egregious of a bait and switch as Zombie Island Massacre, where there's like no zombies and there's no island and there's no massacre.
Damn, what a oh man.
Right? Okay. So, what up, Vincent? That's my boy Vincent in the house. He says, yes, I saw Parasite in the theater with the wiggly worm. Yeah, I haven't checked out. I've got a 3D TV actually that I got for free, and the thing is just like completely like huge. But I haven't gotten the glasses and like the Blu-rays and the DVDs. Those must be cheap now because that whole thing didn't take off at all. 3D was always a gimmick, I felt. But anyway, I'm digressing. I was talking about Charles Band. So Charles Band later went on in the 90s to be a kind of savior for horror, because in the 90s, movie studios, even if they released horror movies, they would tell somebody like D. Schneider, for instance, like when you're going to promote Strangeland, don't use the H word. What? Horror, right? It was the time of the thriller.
Right.
And this, before Scream came out and then horror was back in. And now, of course, it's bigger than it's ever been.
Yeah.
Which is wonderful and a pain in the ass at the same time because it's such a glut of product. But Charles Band was the guy who started Full Moon Studios, which put out, my goodness, a buttload of crap, but also a couple of good movies. Like Subspecies 2, I think, is really good. You could catch that on Tubi. 2 and 3 actually are both really good. And Castle Freak, which is by the director of
Puppet Master. No,
a Puppet Master. Yeah. Well, that's the thing about Charles Band. He has this obsession with like little things.
I met the guy that did the guy that owns Puppet Master, the creator. I don't know if that's him. It might be him. He's got long hair.
Maybe.
I mean, I don't know, but he was doing a convention like across from me, and he had all of his movies on the table. Like I think Ghoulies, Puppet Master, Castle Freak, and I was you know, I remember seeing Puppet Master as a kid. I never saw Ghoulies, and I always wanted to see Castle Freak because I think that was based off of a true story in Scotland, I believe.
It's more Lovecraft than anything else, but it's like early Lovecraft. Like before he got into like the Elder Gods and all that stuff, he was messing around with a lot of human degeneration.
Oh,
That was
okay.
like an obsession of his. And also one of his early works was Herbert
Reanimator?
West, Reanimator. Herbert West Reanimator was a series of short stories. It's always been very difficult. Even now, I don't really see it like on bookshelves. Back in the day, the only way you could get a copy was, oh, I should have, hold on a sec. My apologies. You know, see, this is why I really miss having the wireless headset. Just give me a sec.
Yeah, it'd be cool to find a new version of Reanimator now. Maybe all the books put together by Lovecraft. Because man,
Motherfucker.
that Herbert West is
all right.
He's a real character.
Sorry, Matt.
Oh, don't be sorry. It's all good.
Sorry, folks. Yeah, you can tell I run a really professional, smooth stream here. Back in the day, you know, now you can get, you know, Lovecraft's everywhere. I think that Al Sprogdecamp's prediction that he would overtake Poe has actually come true in many respects. You don't hear post about Poe. You don't see Poe adaptations as much. You certainly don't see Poe art. Lovecraft art is everywhere.
Yeah, it's, you know, and a lot of people are like, we're all like, oh, Lovecraft, oh, now they're like, oh, he's canceled. It's not really Lovecraft inspired. It's like,
I know.
Maybe
Is
10
that
years
funny?
ago, you would have said a little something different about that. Now
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
People are just fucking afraid to, you know. But yeah, definitely fucking every the fuck where is fucking Lovecraft and the tentacles.
Everywhere.
They're all over the
Everywhere.
fucking Cthulhu place.
Yeah.
Cthulhu.
Yeah. And here's the thing. I'm not saying Lovecraft wasn't a racist. He was a racist.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
But here's the problem with like social justice warriors. They can't put things in historical perspective. And then there are people, you know, I mean, I don't think his views were any different from those of like anybody else that was living on his block at that time, if you know what I'm saying. Right? We're talking about like the 1920s.
Yeah.
Not exactly a very enlightened age. And then people are like, oh, well, you're making excuses. No, I'm not making an excuse. I'm giving an explanation. That's something that's very different, right? And he did, his views did soften greatly. And there's every indication that he did kind of grow up and he did change when it came to that sort of thing. Unfortunately, a lot of it's in his stories. The Horror of Red Hook, for instance, has got like, I mean, the virulent anti-immigrant stuff in it. But anyway, this is where you would get something like Herbert West Reanimator. I couldn't immediately find my copy. I actually forgot about these. Otherwise, I would have had them ready. So what you would do is you would send a couple of bucks to Necronomicon Press, and they would send you something like this. And
Crazy.
if you look, there's Herbert right there. There he is with the syringe. There's a headless body, and there's the head. Which you know, we're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to the head.
Was
at some point?
Because I know that there's different ones. You know, did he write? I mean, you said there was episodic stories, like he wrote them kind of like they were taking his diaries from Herbert West.
No, they weren't like journal entries or anything like that. It wasn't written like Dracula, for instance. They were just short stories, and they were a lot of people think that they're pretty bad. I found them pretty entertaining.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't say it's like even close to being his best work. It's not where I would say like here's where you should start with H.P. Lovecraft. So when I heard that this was coming out, I was like, oh, that's really odd. It's, you know, it's kind of like obscure Lovecraft, but okay. And then it was getting all these great reviews. And it was like, oh, even like more encouraging. All right. I'll check that out. And this is the last Charles Band movie I can think of that got a theatrical release. This is right before everything went to video. Right before. Shit. Yeah. I think like the last ones that got like theatrical releases were Prison, with Viggo Mortensen, directed by Rennie Harlin, and Reanimator. Anyway, let me give us our pick screen. Yeah, there we go. So the story starts at the University of Zurich. And you know that you're in Zurich, you know you're in Switzerland, because everybody speaks Süsseldeutsch, which is to say German. And it's, I wouldn't say that the pronunciation of the actors is, that their German is bad. It's not, but they're very obviously not German or Swiss.
Right. You know what, to be honest, I didn't even fucking realize it. You know what I mean? I didn't even think of that the whole time. You know, I didn't even... It's crazy. But when I turn the movie on, like it comes on. Like there's no title sequences or nothing. You know what I mean? I didn't even see this establishing shot when it came on. Because it came on and just went boom. And then it just, like, I think it goes after this into a hallway scene. Like they're walking down a hallway or something like that. That's what that's fucking crazy.
Yeah, so that's a pretty cool establishing shot. And you see these security guards, or cops. I guess they would be like university law enforcement or something. They're packing heat though, aren't they? So yeah, maybe they're just like the regular popo. So this fellow and this doctor and some cops, they hear screaming. They're marching down this hallway with great purpose. And I love how this guy bangs on the door and he's like, Dr. West, rauskommen. It's like, yeah. I mean, I know a lot of people think German's an ugly language. I don't think there's such a thing as an ugly language. I think all languages are beautiful in their own way. But there's something about German and Japanese that when they're spoken with authority or with anger, that make you go, oh, okay. Oh, geez, man. You see, I had a German father, and when me and the kids would be out, my brother and I, we'd be out playing. It was dinner time. He'd be like, Brian, Daniel, Essen, macht schnell. And when he said macht schnell, we came macht motherfucking schnell. I'll tell you that much. Jesus, man. Woo! So they bust in, they break the door to get in, and oh yeah, see, this dude is packing heat, so they would be like the regular popo, and they come across Dr. Herbert West, a young prodigy, you might say, with a predilection for doing stuff with dead folks. I'm not implying necrophilia there. Lovecraft did write a story about necrophilia called The Loved Dead, but this has nothing to do with that. And here's the good doctor not doing so well, and his eyes are exploding.
Yeah.
One of the things that's great about this movie, of course, are the gore effects. The gore effects are friggin' amazing. They're impressive.
Yeah, they are.
And they're very playful too. This is a very naughty movie. By that I mean like naughty, like in a playful way. Not to say that it's still not an effective horror movie, but this would. How would you classify Reanimator? Would you say that it's serial comic? Would you say that it's a horror comedy, a horror with dashes of comedy, a comedy like a really a black comedy? Like how would you define it? What's the impression that you got from it?
I call it a black horror comedy.
That works. That works for me. And so unfortunately, homeboy's eyes like go popping out of his skull. Look at that.
Oh
I mean,
man, yeah, that
that's
shit
a
was
great
crazy.
effect.
He's like,
Yeah, man.
Fucking...
Because Herbert just juiced him up a little too damn much, and so his eyes pop, and he's getting blood all over this poor lady, and I just look, because the opening to this is just, boy, it throws you right in there. Like
Right.
you've got an idea, like, oh crap, what the hell did I just walk into?
Yeah.
And so this professor here is like, you killed him, and Herbert West, of course, is no, I gave him life. And we go into the credits. Interesting thing about the credits is the music is by Richard Band, who I believe is Charles Band's uncle. And he very shamelessly just steals the Bernard Herrmann's Psycho theme here.
Yeah, what to say? It sounds exactly like Psycho.
It's not Psycho-esque. It's the theme from Psycho.
Like yeah, I'd have to listen to it again. You know what I mean? But it's like he took the whole like fucking theme, and then he added like a gang of notes at the end. It's like,
yes.
It's like, so it could not be so it's not that anymore. You know?
Exactly. But yeah, you know, if he had gotten slapped with a lawsuit, it you know, he wouldn't have had much of a leg to stand on, is what I guess I'm trying to say. I'm being generous here,
right?
Because movies like this, sometimes you love the things that are messed up or wrong with them. The opening credit sequence is cool, right?
Yeah,
it's animated, and the you know, you're getting a lot of images that are from old anatomy textbooks. I don't know if any of this is from Grey's Anatomy. It wouldn't surprise me. Yeah, Bruce Abbott is in this. You probably don't know him. Barbara Crampton, of course, now is considered horror royalty. She was in a bunch of these movies. She was in the follow-up to this, which is From Beyond. That was Stuart Gordon and Dennis Paoli's, not a sequel, but it was their next Lovecraft movie after the surprise success of Reanimator. I should say a little something about Stuart Gordon. Stuart Gordon is a guy that I think is very underappreciated in a lot of respects in the world of horror, because you don't normally hear him mentioned in the same breath as Tobe Hooper or George Romero or Dario Argento or Mario Bava or even Larry Cohen. I think that he deserves to be in that group, that his contribution to the genre is significant enough. As for Castle Freak, which we were talking about before, I actually think that that's his best movie.
No shit. I'm going to have to watch that.
Yeah, because that's not a comedy. That's just ruthless. One of the things I can't stand about it, though, not about the movie, but I remember the original VHS cover didn't have the monster on the cover. If you look it up on Tubi, anywhere else, boom, there's a picture of the monster.
Yeah, there's a face and everything.
Yeah, and I'm like, what are you doing? What are you doing? That's supposed to be a surprise, because you don't see what he you get little bits and pieces of what he looks like, and it becomes increasingly more and more and more horrifying. So it's just like, you know,
spoiler cover.
I don't understand why they do that. There's the other spoiler cover is for Living Dead at the Manchester Morgue, also known as Let Sleeping Corpses Lie. They put that out on a beautiful Blu-ray edition. Is a huge spoiler right on the cover. I mean, I guess they're assuming that, hey, if you're buying this, it's probably because you've already seen it. But come on now.
Not everybody's seen it.
Not everybody's seen it. And maybe somebody might like to show it to their friends or something. So anyway, yeah, I was saying about Stuart Gordon. Stuart Gordon comes from the Chicago theater world and was part of the Chicago theater scene alongside his friend David Mamet, who is a very well-known, respected mainstream figure. He wrote the screenplay for Brian De Palma's Untouchables movie. He has done a lot of really respectable stuff. Stuart Gordon doesn't care about that sort of a thing, or didn't care about that sort of thing. He passed away a couple of years ago. A great loss, I think, to the horror community. His co-writer on these movies is Dennis Paoli. I was lucky enough to attend a Alamo Draft House. We have an Alamo Draft House near me in Yonkers, which is the shit. And I mean, really, the only way it could be better would be if they let you like pass like a bong around. Then it would be like, yeah, it would be like paradise. Because, they bring you beers and stuff like that. I'm not going to get into the whole Alamo Draft House thing, but if there is one in your area, check it out. Check their calendar, because they will show old movies, old awesome cult movies like this. And I got to meet Dennis Paoli, really nice guy. Turns out to be a university professor, an academic, and he was already an academic when he co-wrote this, and which then started a partnership with him and Stuart Gordon. And interestingly enough, he is a English lit teacher, and his specialty is Gothic literature. Mm. I was an English lit major. Guess what my specialty was? What my focus was? It was Gothic literature. So we had a cool conversation. Really nice, humble guy. Let's see. Bruce Abbott should have had a much better career. He was kind of like I guess I might compare him to like a Bruce Campbell type.
I was about to say, yeah, he's kind of like a Bruce Campbell. I remember seeing him first in The Frighteners. He had a pretty funny role in that movie where he was like an FBI agent that was practicing the occult and scarred his body, and he had hemorrhoids. So he'd always have to sit on a little donut all the time, and he's always fixing his hair. Really, really quirky character. And I knew about that was, really
shit.
Funny. He had a Hitler haircut in that movie.
Well, you know why he's in that, I guarantee you, is because Peter Jackson was undoubtedly a huge Reanimator fan.
Yeah, like that's what I was thinking of at the very end of the movie when the guts get reanimated and they start attacking Herbert, and that totally reminded me of Dead Alive when the guts.
Exactly.
And I was like, oh, dude, I wonder. And I was just trying to think. I think Dead Alive came out after this movie,
Oh, yeah.
So definitely, proto.
Yeah. In the 90s.
Proto, fucking Dead Alive.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know any other movies before this that had some far out, guts coming to life. You know what I mean?
I know. It's very playful. Yeah. It's very bizarre. A lot of surreal imagery in this. Oh, I want to say this quickly about Brian Yuzna. He was a producer on this. He directed the first sequel, Bride of Reanimator, and what else did he do? Oh, well, he did the Faust movie, based on like the Tim Vigil comic. And he also did Return of the Living Dead Part 3, which is like his one really good movie, I think. Return of the Living Dead Part 2 is an abortion. It's a slap in the face of every horror fan. But 3 is actually really good, and you definitely should check that out if you get a chance. But yeah, so the movie proper, we end up, I guess, moving forward a few months or a few weeks, and we are in absolutely lovely Miskatonic University. Let me see if I can find the picture. There we go. There's Miskatonic Medical School, located, Arkham, of course, in lovely Arkham, Massachusetts. Isn't it interesting that nowadays when you say Arkham, people don't think Lovecraft, they think Batman?
Yeah, that is crazy.
And that's not a complaint or anything, but
So Herbert West in the story, is he Swiss or German in the Reanimator story from Lovecraft, or was he just there experimenting on people?
No. He was he was just an American. He was just going to school in Zurich because it was like a very prestigious university.
Yeah.
But the fact that he was going to school in Switzerland is also a Frankenstein connection.
I was about to say, like, this movie had a lot of, it made me think of Mary Shelley's Frankenstein a lot, you know?
It really, where it takes a lot of its inspiration is from the Hammer Frankenstein movies, because in the Hammer Frankenstein movies, the monster is never the focus. The monster is always like a side character. Like the real monster is Frankenstein. By the time you get to like Dracula must be Frankenstein must be destroyed, which I think is like the 4th or 5th movie in the series. At that point, he's like a serial killer and a rapist.
Damn,
like just a fiend. And played, of course, to the hilt by Peter Cushing. And Herbert West in this is a straight up fiend. Just I would say a murderous sociopath.
Yeah.
He starts out. He moves in with. I'm getting a little ahead of myself here, but that's a great scene. He ends up moving in with Bruce Abbott and Barbara Crampton. They seem to be having they're both med students. No, I'm sorry. Bruce Abbott is the med student, and Barbara Crampton's character is the dean's daughter. And it opens with Bruce Abbott's character trying desperately to resuscitate somebody that's, I guess, maybe had a heart attack or something. And of course he fails. And you can imagine how horrible and disappointing of a feeling that must be for a doctor or even just a med student. And so when he meets, oh man, I'm really getting ahead of myself here. When he meets Herbert West immediately, he rents like the room above and is just a complete asshole. Bruce Abbott goes to shake his hands, and he's just like basically just blows him off, walks right past him. He's very single-minded, obsessive, you might say. And there's such a thing as good obsession, and there's such a thing as bad obsession. His obsession, of course, not of the healthy variety.
He's a little psychotic too. I mean, obviously, but I wouldn't even say, because in the beginning I thought he was just an obsessive sociopath, but he's also a little psychotic. Because when at least with the cat, you know what I mean? Like he was like woo, like trying to fuck with him, and then he started laughing a lot about it. That's how you knew he was kind of I think had pleasure in it,
Yeah, and when Bruce Abbott and Barbara Crampton's cat shows up dead. It doesn't just show up dead. He just, they come home and he's like, "Oh yeah, your cat's dead."
Yeah, right.
It's in the basement.
His girlfriend just finds it in his room and shit. It's all just sitting in the fridge.
Yeah,
and that was the one horrific thing. His magic scissor, his green, glowing formula. They never show where he gets it. Like I was watching it, trying to go back and see. It's just there next to the cat. You know what I mean? It's just it's just there in the fridge. It's almost like a character in itself that just appears out of nowhere.
Right. And the fluorescent nature of it, the fact that it's like glow in the dark, is turned out to be something very classic and very iconic too. So he's just like, "Yeah, I need a little help." Yeah, just close your eyes if you're worried about spoilers, people. No, you know what? We go into spoilers with here, but we don't give away the endings. But yeah, so they end up just tearing the place apart. Because the dead cat's like running around, even with its spine broken, and it's really it's just horrific. But that West killed the damn cat.
Yeah, he did.
And what's one of the things that, is very common about sociopaths and specifically serial killers?
Yeah.
They always start out with animals.
Start with animals, yeah.
And work their way up.
Like Michael Myers.
Sim.
Hey, what up,
What's
Sim?
up? Hey, man, hop in if you feel like it. Links in the DM group. So after that, after seeing this miraculous discovery of West's, and let's face it, it is pretty damn amazing. There's no question that that he's a genius and a visionary.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, being a genius and a visionary doesn't, have anything to do with your quality as a human being.
Yeah.
So he basically, at that point, it becomes West's his partner in crime, and that's another connection to the Hammer Frankenstein movies, because in the Frankenstein Hammer movies, he always has an assistant, and understandably, because of course, if you can't generally make a character like that necessarily the main character, you have to give the audience a way in to their world. So you take this relatively normal, by comparison, person, and you drop them into that world, and you get taken on the tour of the House of Horrors. They end up doing some experiments, surprise, surprise, on dead bodies, and weed their way into the I want to say the morgue, and start injecting bodies with reanimating fluid, and surprise, shocker, it does not go well. Because the problem with the reanimating fluid is, yes, it brings the dead back to life, but they're completely brain damaged and aggressive, very aggressive, and very strong. Now, that could have to do with the deterioration of the brain. Maybe he's using too much fluid. Maybe he's not using enough, right? Because he's still in the experimental phase.
Yeah.
And here we have him meeting the dean of the university, Dean Halsey, who is Megan's father, Megan being Barbara Crampton's character. And they don't get on very well. Herbert West rubs everybody the wrong way. And that's especially Dr. Carl Hill, Dr. Hill, who's played to the hilt, I have to say, by David Gale.
Yeah, that guy's the creepiest one in the movie, I think. You know what I mean?
Yes, he is.
I mean, the Reanimator, he's a freak, fiendish freak too. But the other guy, I don't know, man. There's just something really creepy about him too. You know what I mean?
Well, because he's even worse, really.
Yeah.
And,
wait, we got Pops in the chat.
Oh, what up, Pops? What's going on, man? I hope you got a strong stomach. We're going to be showing some nasty business. Let's see here.
Yeah, he's definitely worse, though.
He's definitely worse. There's that wonderful scene where Herbert West is in his class, and he's giving a lecture.
Yeah.
And about brain death, and Herbert West, when he first meets him, tells Dr. Hill, your work's interesting, but it's like really outdated. And Dr. Hill, rather than saying, "Oh, really? Oh, please, explain to me."
Would you care to elaborate?
Yeah, exactly. Because a good teacher always is ready to learn from their students.
Yeah.
And Dr. Hill, not so much. But when he finds out, he's just like, "Oh my God, you're a genius. Now I'm going to take credit for all your work."
He finds out pretty quick too. Like he's on that shit pretty quicker than you know, he was just on it. Like I think he was on it there somehow. Like he had a feeling that this kid was like smarter than me, you know.
Right.
And I'm
Yeah.
gonna check up on this fool. You know what I mean? He already started making big plans, like long-term plans.
Absolutely. Oh yeah, here they are with the cat. Oh, it's such a gnarly scene. It's like I could take like violence towards people in any way, shape, or form. It doesn't bother me. Also, because I know it's not real. But even fake violence towards animals, it always makes me cringe. I always get mad if I'm playing a video game and they make me like kill a dog.
Yeah, it's weird. It's like
right?
seeing like roadkill on the road. You get kind of like, ugh, you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. No, it's brutal. So, Dr. West and his buddy, if you could call him that, Dan Kane, Bruce Abbott's character, they sneak into the morgue late in the late hours of the evening or the early hours of the morning, and are checking out bodies. One of the interesting things about this scene is when they're checking out the corpses, they're mentioning like what's wrong with them. And one of them's like, oh, shotgun blast to the head. You're going to see these corpses. You don't see them now. You don't see how gnarly they look, but you do see at the end. And I
thought, right?
Yes, very, very much so. Unexpected, but not unwelcome, I don't think, payoff. And mind you, you would say the climax of this pays off in a big way, right?
Oh yeah, there's a lot of stuff you wouldn't think to happen, and it just, you know, there's a lot of things I didn't expect, a lot of unexpected moments at the end.
Well, because this is such a batshit crazy movie, and so when you get to the climax, you better have a whole lot of crazy.
Right.
And that's
the guts was crazy. The guts coming to life, and then the head, like just with the doctor, you know, like the whole time he was just like obsessed, you know,
with the dean's daughter. Yeah.
He's like, "Are you sure? You know, you can study here. You can study here tonight." He's like, "No, I'm gonna go study with my girlfriend in my house, dude."
Right. Yeah. Well, he's backing on her, and she can tell, and he's just creepy. He's just not. He's creepy as fuck, and oh my god, this actor just gives a very scenery chewing performance, but it's a kind of like hammy performance that is great because it's self-aware hammy. It's not William Shatner hammy. It's more like I'm thinking of Anthony Hopkins.
Oh right. Yeah.
Who is like one of go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. What were you...
No, I was going to say he's like one of the great hammy actors. Although he has all of his performances are hammy, but you see him in something like Silence of the Lambs, or especially in Bram Stoker's Dracula. He just is just like gnawing on the scenery. You're right, and it's just fun to watch because you're watching somebody who's a very masterful actor, and just I don't know, obviously having fun.
What I liked about what I thought they did good in. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead. I talked too much.
I was gonna say one thing I liked. No, I talked too much. Well, I was gonna say one thing I liked that they delivered in this movie was when the dean fires his daughter's boyfriend, or he expels him. You know what I mean? And it's just like, oh, it's over, it's done. You know what I mean? And you see this. He's just like, oh, your life's done, you know, and like those are like those like sometimes like real powerful people in life that if they were to do that to you, you'd be fucked, you know. And
absolutely,
just to see him go from like that powerful, like, you know, aristocrat basically to this like nothing. It's like, whoa, and he's crazy. It's in I wasn't expecting that. I was not expecting that to happen in the movie, and it's just, well, I thought that was a cool, like, when that happens to him, that's really when the movie just turns.
Yes.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yes, very much so. And it's just because, they go down there to like juice up one of the bodies. It comes to life. Did you really have to choose the bodybuilder? Did you have to choose the buff guy? Couldn't have you like chosen like some 98-pound weakling whose like bones you could break like kindling? No, they had to get like this jacked up jock mofo. And so it's great because it goes bad. It goes south in like the worst possible way for Bruce Abbott's character. Because it's like, you know, it's bad enough you're getting attacked by this enraged corpse. But then your girlfriend's father walks in and gets just fucking mauled.
Yeah.
Just, I mean, the gore in this is just brutal. But yeah, it's a great scene. He just gets manhandled, thrown up against
he just
the
straight
wall.
Just straight up like shakes him to death, like just shakes him to death again, and just beats him against the wall, just like shaking it, literally shakes the life out of him, just slamming him against the wall. It's like fuck.
Yeah, it's brutal. Yeah, it's just brutal. And then there's this wonderful moment where the zombie, if that's what you want to call him, bites the dean's fingers off, which is a great effect. But what I find also significant is that, and what separates him from the the George Romero zombies, is that he spits the fingers out. Right, he bites his fingers off, and then he lets them fall out of his mouth. He's not, he's not hungry. He's just pissed off.
Just raging. He's raging. He's the Reanimator.
Rage. Yeah, maybe that's what happened. Maybe like he died from like a roid overdose, and then the reanimating fluid just like reactivated. I don't know. But it's oh god, it was wonderful seeing this in a movie theater. I mean, when you go to see a movie like this at a place like the Alamo, you know that at least half the audience has already seen the movie.
Mm.
But what I love is the fact that half the audience hasn't. Mm. And it's just interesting seeing what their reactions are. And yeah, the audience reaction from this was just a mixture of like cringing and like nervous laughter, and it was just, I don't know, it was bitchin'. It was a very cool experience.
The security guard, he breaks up the humor a lot too. He's real funny.
Yeah, that dude's awesome.
He's like, I'm gonna have to go to the bathroom real quick. Like he just has to he's just waiting for someone to go to the bathroom.
I'm gonna get myself some coffee.
Yeah,
that dude's the shit. You know why that dude's the shit? He's the shit because you can tell he's not a real actor.
Yeah, he's like a real like security guard probably.
He's just some dude.
Vincier said the bodybuilder was an Arnold Schwarzenegger stunt double, to his knowledge.
No shit.
Crazy. He doubled for Arnold in some movies. He says.
Thanks, Vincent. Greatly appreciated. He, a dedicated Fangoria reader like myself. And then there's that wonderful moment where Herbert West is, Dan, get out of the way. Oh, no, I'm sorry. He goes, Dan, look out. And then he lifts up the bone saw. And you're like, oh, shit, here comes the bone saw. And he just completely just jams it into this guy's back. And there's just this wonderful gory effect where you see it coming out through his chest. So the dean is dead. Oh my God. Fortune smiles. Opportunity. This is the freshest corpse we ever could possibly have hoped for.
Right.
So it's not right. So Dan, Bruce Abbott's character, has like no time. Right. He's in shock. And you even see him like slump to the floor at a certain point, showing all of the signs of shock.
Yeah, PTSD and everything.
Right? Yeah, man. So you can't really blame him for going along at that point. And also, it's just like, oh my God, like I'm involved in the death of my girlfriend's father. What do you want to do? You hope that, my God, that if there were an opportunity to make it right, you would want to make it right.
Yeah,
but I think
it's crazy.
But that's one of the themes in this movie, is that there's no way to make certain things right. And also, to quote Pet Cemetery, sometimes dead is better.
Yeah, right. I think this movie, even without some of the funny stuff in it, I think it would be good too. You know what I mean? Like,
I agree.
For me, I like to have the humor in there. That's just like the way I like my horror movies. I think it just gives it more dimensions of flavor. But if you were to take out,
in this case, it works.
Yeah, like if you were to take out the security guard and maybe just any of the comedy at all, you know what I mean? Like when they threw the dead cat, that type of stuff. The way that the dean, like again, how he's a real serious actor. Like I thought he did a good job playing the dean, and then he's just like this crazy fucking reanimator zombie. It's the movie seems, and then he's dealing with the shock going into the ball. You know what I mean? It seems almost like it could happen in real life. Like it's believable. Like it could really happen.
Yes.
Like I don't know. To me, it seems
and that's
like
good horror filmmaking.
It's not too far away from where we are right now. Like I could see someone making that reanimator fluid. Like this could happen, literally, dude. Or it could have happened. You never know.
Well, there's no question that somebody's working on it. There's no question that the that's not to get off topic, but you may have heard of a movie that's based on a nonfiction book called "The Men Who Stare at Goats."
Yeah, that sounds familiar.
It's basically about how the Pentagon, if they discover that if they even suspect that the Russians and the Chinese are working on something, they go to work on it. Because then it becomes an arms race issue.
That makes sense. I think that's the same for the opposition too, as well, like the space race and whatnot.
Most likely. And so when Iron Man came out, okay, now they're working on some kind of Iron Man.
Oh yeah,
or like they weren't inspired because they read Starship Troopers, but they saw Iron Man. Okay, like how long till we could get something like that? Get to work. Another thing I guarantee you that they're working on is a zombie virus or something.
Oh, for sure. Like 28 days later. Like that's what I was thinking of when I watched this movie. You know what I mean? Like to me, this stuff's kind of scary, you know what I mean?
It's terrifying.
It's so close. I think we're on the bridge of it. Like right now they're growing like Fauci's lab was taking fetus scalps and putting and growing them on lab rats and shit.
Yeah, very Frankensteinian shit.
Yeah, this scene too right here. Not to go off topic again. What I liked about it, it also reminded me of that scene in the beginning of Return of the Living Dead a little bit. Where you're stuck in there and yeah. It's pretty scary. Good stuff.
The thing about this and Return of the Living Dead is they work both as comedies and as horror films.
Yeah, I guess that balance, I mean, that's my favorite is just a horror comedy. You know what I mean? It's scary as fuck, but funny too. Doesn't gotta be funny as fuck, but it's gotta have some knee smackers here and there.
Right. I think that Evil Dead 2 started something, and I like Evil Dead 2 a lot, but it started something that I think was kind of negative. And that is that in the 80s, you started getting more and more comedy into the horror films to the point where, like, say, we're still at the sweet spot here.
Right. It's not stupid movies with gore with no soul that have fucking stupid comedy in it.
Right. Because what happened with horror films in the 80s was they became more and more humorous to the point where they weren't horror movies anymore. Look at Army of Darkness, for instance, right? Now, you can be a huge fan of Army of Darkness, that's fine, but you can't tell me that that's a fucking horror movie.
Yeah, I think that's more like that's more just like a action adventure.
Yeah.
Satire. It's got some horrific scenes in it, but it's not scary at all.
The Witch in the Pit is great.
The pit scene's scary, and then the one scary Yoshi bitch is pretty scary. Whenever he has to fight a demon, a deadite bitch, it's usually pretty scary. I mean, but other than that, well, I don't know.
Well, no. I mean, I know like this is this is like your subgenre, right?
Yeah.
So, what I loved so much about when Hellraiser came out, one of the things that made that such a breath of fresh air was the fact that it was so poker faced. And that's not to say that there's not some humor in Hellraiser. There is. But it's still just a balls-out horror movie that's like out to get you and out to fuck.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I don't remember like... I don't remember like any standout scenes that I can remember off the top of my head that were funny. Like here, they have a straight up funny ass fucking guy in the movie, the security guard. He's comic relief, dude. You know what I mean? He cuts the tension like whenever, you know. And Herbert's funny as fuck too. You know what I mean?
Jeffrey Combs, yeah, career making performance, yeah. And a lot of the actors in this were, I can't say for sure, I'm guessing, were people that came from the same theater world that Stuart Gordon came from in Chicago. Chicago, of course, had a very thriving theater scene. You have the Second City improv.
Oh, I've heard of them. Saturday Night Live guys and stuff.
There, yeah. And which is where most of the SNL cast members used to come from. I don't know where they come from now. I mean, just... SNL hasn't been cool in like 40 years. Right. It used to be like, God, I remember watching that show when I was in 6th grade, right? And it was like a counterculture show. And now it's like, yeah. And for like, as long as I think since like the late 80s, it's like the voice of the establishment.
Yeah. It used to be like every random like couple of months, I'd be like, oh, it's Saturday night. I'm going to stay up and, you know, watch some funny shit because they have all these funny comedians on here, you know, with these really cool characters like Wayne's World and, you know, Coneheads and shit. You know, now they got Alec Baldwin on there once a fucking whatever the fuck, you know.
Yeah, well, now you're getting a lecture.
Yeah.
But then again, everything's giving you a lecture these days, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like I thought I went to school already. Jeez, you know, you're lecturing me on some stupid ass shit.
Well, Matt, that's because, you know, you need to be educated. You haven't taken any CRT classes, have you? You need to be educated, dude. You know, there are people smarter than us that know what's better for us than we know for ourselves.
There's a lot of smart people out there, you know, but a lot of them don't have common sense, which is astounding.
Oh, God. Well, don't mistake education for intelligence.
Yeah.
Having been in the you know, having gone to like a junior Ivy League university, I could tell you there's a lot of fucking stupid motherfuckers up in that piece.
Yeah. And sometimes, you know, they might be Herbert West or, you know,
the occasional
that kid
genius
from Big Bang Theory, and they might just all they see is fucking formulas all day long. And you can't even talk to the motherfucker. You know what I mean? And then there might be a fucking someone that comes out around a corner in an alley that might stab him or shoot him, you know, and they weren't thinking about that. They might have been thinking about a formula or something, or who knows? You know, sometimes you might be smart one way and maybe you're not using the other side of your brain as much as the other, you know. I don't know.
Right. No, I mean, I always say that the left hemisphere of my brain, that's the part that deals with like logic and mathematics and that sort of a thing, is just like a shriveled up little raisinette.
Yeah, I don't even have that. I have what once was.
Right. And, you know, I'm definitely like a right brain guy. Like,
yeah, totally. All the way.
Top heavy. You know, that's why I became an English lit major, was because I was like, oh fuck, how am I going to go to college and graduate college?
Yeah.
And I am a really I'm a bad liar. That's one of the reasons.
Sucks too. It'll catch up with you. You know what I mean? You can only lie so much. You know what I mean?
Of course.
It sucks because you got to keep lying, and then you know it's lies. You always know when someone's lying because it's a fucking movie. You know what I mean? Yes. Or it's a comic book. That's how you know someone's lying. The story.
It's too detailed.
It's not like I'm sick. No, it's, oh man, I woke up this morning and, you know, my stomach hurted really bad, and then I started shaking. You know what I mean? And then I don't know if it was last night what I ate, or I don't know, man. I heard there's this bug going. Just say you're fucking sick. You know what I mean?
Yes, exactly.
Don't lie. It's not that. It's not a fucking movie, motherfucker. You know what I mean?
But then sometimes people feel the need to. I mean, one of the most fucked up... I remember seeing a title of a children's book that was like one of the most fucked up things I have ever seen in my life. Offered like the worst advice you could ever give a kid. You know what the title of this book was?
What?
Never lie.
No,
I'm sorry. No, it was Always Tell the Truth. Oh my God.
Yeah, right.
Really?
Yeah,
like, you want the kid to get into trouble at school? You want his life to be turned into a fucking nightmare? You want every teacher to like hate his guts?
Yeah,
His or her guts? Like, whatever. So there's like tactical lying that we all have to do just to get through life, just to get through the world.
Exactly.
And then, there's like lying in one's personal life, which I can't do because I suck at it. And also, it's just a destructive thing, too. But anyway, but I can bullshit on paper. Oh, my God. If you can't, like I said, that's why I became a lit major, was because if you can't dazzle them with brilliance,
baffle them with bullshit. Right.
And that's just, I have a fucking gift for.
This guy just creeps up in there too, man.
He does, invites himself in.
Yeah, I was like, what the fuck? Like, this fool. And then after what happens right here, I don't know if we want to spoil this part, but
Dr. Hill?
We probably could, right?
Yeah. Everybody, if you're worried about fucking spoilers, turn the shit off and go watch the movie. Link is in the description.
It's free.
For free. I always think that, like, when I put the link in, that people are going to think, like, oh, is this something dubious? Is it going to, like, download, like, some Trojans on my computer? No.
Better not be porn.
It's better not be porn. It's on Tubi. Tubi, I found out a lot of people don't even know about Tubi.
I never knew about it, yeah.
Tubi is a great site because you can watch movies like Reanimator for free with commercials, but the movies are unedited, so that's the really cool thing. Yeah, no, it's awesome.
It's like, what the fuck? What is this? It's like watching old school TV but unrated. Like, I can't wrap my mind around it.
I know. It's amazing.
It's like, oh, time to go. There's a commercial. Oh, there's time to get some popcorn.
We've gotten closer and closer to my childhood dream of having like a TV and a remote where you could just watch any movie at any time. Well, of course, they're going to fuck streaming up too, because they got to go back and re-edit, censor all these movies. So enjoy it while you got it, because they're going to fuck this up too. I guarantee you.
I'm going to have to lock up all my DVDs.
Well, I mean, that's why I'm a big advocate of physical media. I've got millennial friends who don't understand that shit at all.
I mean, I understand, like, I got buddies, they're like, why do you collect that shit? And I got other buddies that collect shit too, but I understand the space that it takes up. You know what I mean? I mean, I like to look at my library. I like to look at a bookshelf. You know what I mean? I love everything nice and organized. But I understand that stuff takes up a lot of space. Like, for me, as I grow older, I become more of a minimalist. I like walking into a room and just seeing, emptiness and, that I understand. But then also it's like the whole new, we're going to censor everything and we're going to recut it and we're going to put new ads in there and we're just going to fuck your shit up, motherfucker. That sucks, dude. I'm sorry.
It's terrible.
Yeah.
And thank God the social justice warriors haven't discovered Tubi yet, that they haven't stumbled across movies like this, because you can imagine, boy, they'd be, do the most dreaded thing you could possibly do, which is put people on blast on Twitter.
Enjoy it while it lasts, before it turns into Scooby.
Yeah, exactly. This is the Elite Entertainment, the very first DVD release of Reanimator. This was out of print for about 10 years and was going on eBay, I think, for about like $50, $100 or something like that. But now you can get it on Blu-ray and watch it for free. Arrow Video is putting out like great new versions of movies, but also those are the versions that you're seeing on Tubi. It's the Arrow Video versions. So they're, beautiful cuts of the movie. Much nicer looking than this DVD, I have to say. So yeah, so Dr. Hill's just like checking out, is where he invites himself in. Hey, I love your work. I think I'll take it.
Oh, it's just one of those moments in movies are like, you know what I mean? It's like the worst thing that could happen to you. You know what I mean? Like, you create something and then someone comes up to you and they're like, yeah, I'm going to take it. And you're going to fucking like it. You're going to deal with it, motherfucker.
Right. Because they're more powerful.
And this is what's going to happen. And you're going to smile. It's like, ooh, damn. And I didn't expect them, Herbert to come up.
Whack him in the head with a shovel. And it's great because, like, I mean, boy, he had it coming. But this is another scene where I get vibes very much like a flashback to the Hammer Frankenstein movies. Because Frankenstein in the Hammer films, like I said, is like a serial killer. And is always killing people for their body parts or their brains.
It kind of makes sense, right?
It does. Like, it does.
They don't really go into that in a novel, but it seems like it would make sense. You know what I mean?
Well,
because it seems like he would need the fresh tissues more. Like they would come back to life quicker. You know what I mean? Rather than like some old decrepit thing, you know?
Yeah, but also, you know, he wasn't, you know, that's the reason why the monster is so miserable and horrifying to look at is that Frankenstein wasn't a surgeon.
Yeah, true.
And so he just threw this thing together and did whatever it is that he did to it. In the novel, it's not lightning or anything else. It's never explained because Frankenstein he doesn't want that secret getting out there. He doesn't want anybody to repeat what he's done. So that's completely left to your imagination in the novel. But he's not thinking, oh, well, what about this thing when it comes to life? How is it going to feel? That never crosses his mind. So he's not like a serial killer or something like that, but he has a empathy deficit, I would say. I don't know if I'd say that he's a full-blown sociopath, like Frankenstein is in the Hammer movies, or Herbert West here, in Reanimator, but you know, definitely not somebody I would want to hang out with. So yeah, here he is, just like bringing that shovel down, and this is such a gnarly scene.
Yeah,
where he's just like
sparkles, just straight up took his head off with a blunt. Oh man,
with a shovel. Yeah, baby. And there's this great moment where he's like applying the pressure, and you just hear this crunching sound, and you see the head roll and the blood squirting out, and the body is just like twitching.
Yeah.
The hands are flopping around, the legs are going. It's just gnarly. Just very mean-spirited, but in a jolly way, I would say. Because that's the thing about this too, is as much as it is a horror film, it's also a black comedy. So there's something very jolly about it. Something like this could be much darker if it didn't have that sense of humor to it. And I think that's why the mainstream critics really liked this. What was because it didn't take itself too seriously. So yeah, then of course Herbert West is like, oh, well, dead body, I gotta juice this motherfucker up. And decides to do something very novel, which is injecting the severed head of Dr. Hill and his body at the same time. And that is from the story that is depicted here, one that I showed you before from Necronomicon Press. Wow, this is old. Sorry, I gotta sniff this. I'm a book sniffer. You know how it goes. So Herbert West is just like, he's just like taking notes. He's just like, speak, like West. Okay, yes, you, yeah, okay, bastard. And that and his headless corpse comes up right behind him. And let's see here. Grabs him by the head and just goes boom, bounces his head off the desk. And so then we have Dr. Hill's headless corpse walking around with his head. This is a scene that, no, actually it's a later scene that's just really gross and nasty. Filthy. That was mentioned in American Beauty. I don't know if you've ever seen that before.
Long time ago.
I don't know. I don't know if you remember when Kevin Spacey is like working like a kid's job, like at like a fast food restaurant, and he's like out back smoking a joint with his kid, and the kid's just like, "Oh man, you ever see this movie Reanimator?" And he's like, "No." He's like, "Oh, you got to check it out. I'll lend it to you." And then in a later scene, he, Kevin Spacey's like, I was like, "Oh yeah, I watched Reanimator." He's like, "What'd you think?" He's just like, "Oh yeah, it's that scene like with the head where he's about to go down on the chick." And so it's it's been immortalized in mainstream respectable entertainment. It's a wonderful scene where Dr. Hill is forming like a psychic connection with brain damaged reanimated Dean Halsey. And there we go. That's about all I could show you from this scene. Yeah, where he kidnaps the dean's daughter. I think maybe that's a good place to stop when it comes to doing a recap of the film. Oh yeah, there's our man. When he hears all the mayhem, when he hears all the shit that's going on, and he just like mouths, "What the fuck?" That's a great moment. So overall, your impression of Reanimator?
Oh yeah, man, I thought it was awesome. I give it 2 horns way up. It's something I've been meaning to watch. I remember seeing the box at Suncoast. I don't remember if you remember that place back in the malls back in the day. They had the DVD box of it, and it came with a green like syringe, and I was like, that looks interesting. That cat kind of looks like a Bruce Campbell type character in a horror movie. I'm gonna have to check that out. Never got around to it.
Wow.
Yeah, and then I found out he was the guy from Frighteners, and I loved the Frighteners as a kid. That was the first Peter Jackson movie I seen. So yeah, definitely a awesome movie. I want to see the sequels. I don't know how good they are, but definitely interested about the character. I'd like to see where he goes after this.
It's real. Well, I haven't seen Bride of Reanimator since it came out. When it first came out, I just didn't like it at all. I have to give it another look because I know there are other people who were defenders of it. I have a friend of mine that's like, yeah, you should give that another look, and I will at some point. There was a Reanimator 3, which was released straight to the Sci-Fi Channel. I can't say that it was great, but it was fun. A great, like, what might have been one of the great unmade horror movies we can only speculate about was Reanimator Goes to Washington, which was going to be Stuart Gordon did want to come back to the franchise to do Reanimator Goes to Washington, where Herbert West is brought in to reanimate the president.
Oh, okay.
And so it was going to be, this political horror satire thing.
I remember they made a bunch of comics too. I think Dynamite made some at one point. I could have sworn there was a bunch of comics for it. Yeah.
And did they do some crossovers too, like Reanimator meets Evil Dead or Ash meets Reanimator or something?
They did a gang of crossovers.
Yeah, they did.
I think so, if I'm not mistaken. I have to check that out. Right. To Google that up.
Yeah, most definitely. But all I could say is that Reanimator is essential viewing. Like, if you're a hardcore horror fan and you haven't seen this,
yeah,
what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah,
if you just like to watch like the latest Blumhouse movie, I got nothing against Blumhouse. I actually like most of the stuff that they're putting out there, but go back to the classics. Do you know what I'm saying? Don't just because there's so much. That's the thing is. There's such a glut of like new horror. You can't. It's difficult to keep up with, and I think that the stuff that is really worth seeing, like, we probably don't even know about yet. We're gonna find out in like 10 or 15 years.
Yeah, right.
Right, because even the most dedicated horror fan can't keep up with the current input. Oh, hey, Corey Barton, what's up, brother? He's like, Blumhouse sucks. I don't think so. I mean, it's It's mainstream horror. I don't think you're going to get anything special like Reanimator out of Blumhouse. But for mainstream horror movies, I think they're fine. I think the Conjuring series is fine. What else have they done?
Halloween.
The new Halloween movies. I thought the first one that they did was quite good. The last one, I have mixed feelings about. It's clunky as hell. At the same time, I can't say that I didn't enjoy watching it.
The Invisible Man was he wasn't an Invisible Man. That movie,
it didn't even have an Invisible Man in it. That was offensively bad.
Yeah.
And woke too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you ever see The Witch? I don't think they did that.
Yes.
That movie was pretty good, I thought.
Amazing.
I don't know if you did Hereditary. I thought that one was pretty cool.
Oh, brilliant! Brilliant! I think instant classic.
Yeah, I thought that was good. Did you see it? Did you see Midsummer?
No, I haven't.
That one was pretty good too. I mean,
I've heard it's kind of like The Wicker Man.
Yeah, definitely. It's like that one. There's probably two other movies that I could think of, but I can't think off the top of my head that it reminds me of. But it's definitely like The Wicker Man, and I can't think of the name of it, but yeah.
Corey says old horror movies like this really tried back in the day, put efforts into the sets and the characters, but most modern horror seems effortless. By effortless, I think you mean characterless, or that it's lacking in individual personality. And I would agree with that.
There's not a lot of like puppeteering and effects with gore and stuff like that. There's a lot of CGI. A lot of shadows, a lot of close-ups, a lot of Foley, and then a lot of music. You know what I mean?
Well, that's the thing. Also, well, I mean, sound design is important for a horror film for sure.
Yeah.
Right. But I think a lot of the stuff that's coming out these days is lacking in character. It's movies like Reanimator. One of the things that makes them special is that they're very, very idiosyncratic.
Yeah,
they have
in some spots, little quirks.
Yes, yes. Stuart Gordon's other movies. Oh, an interesting thing about Stuart Gordon too. He ended up writing one of his screenplays ended up being turned into like a really big Hollywood movie. He wrote Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Oh yeah, I love that movie as a kid.
And they wouldn't let him direct it. Probably because they knew about this, right? And that's the thing that blew my mind when Peter Jackson managed to sell New Line Cinema on his ambition to make the Lord of the Rings movies. The fact that they greenlit that shit, it's just like you do know who Peter Jackson is. Like, you've seen Dead Alive and Meet the Feebles and all that stuff, but Bob Shea, the guy who runs New Line Cinema, is like an old hippie, so
yeah,
he didn't have a problem with that. I just wondered if some of the bigger actors and such that were working on that movie, if they'd ever seen Meet the Feebles. Have you ever seen Meet the Feebles?
No, I've seen like scenes of it, but I haven't watched the whole movie yet.
It's so nasty. It's the Muppet Show on the brown acid from Woodstock. That's how I would describe it. It's really, it's sick. It's mean-spirited, and yet at the same time, it's very sweet at its core. I think. I think that might be on Tubi too. It's well worth a watch. Just don't watch that one with the kids.
Oh no! I was gonna wait till the kids go to bed.
Yeah, man. Because it's vile in many respects. Yeah, Corey says there is no memorable characters and scenes like Jason, Freddy Krueger, and Predator. Yeah. At the same time, we are seeing some good stuff, like the aforementioned The Witch and Hereditary. Once again, the fact that we're getting so many horror movies means that there's a greater chance that we are going to get movies that are special.
I'd say Malevolent was pretty cool. They had a cool character in there.
Oh, I love Malevolent.
I like The Collector a lot too. They only made 2 of those movies, but have you ever watched The Collector and the Collection?
Nope.
So that's by James Wan. It was supposed to be served as two like origin movies for the character Jigsaw. but he's way cooler than Jigsaw.
Ah.
He's way cooler than Jigsaw, but he never you never know who he is. He doesn't have like from my understanding, because I only watched them both once, and I'm like, oh, you ever watch a movie? You're like, that's cool. I'm gonna buy that, and I'm gonna watch it again later. Right. The first two, like I watched those, and yeah, I like them both though. It's this guy that like sets these booby traps like in your house basically, you know, and he does all this crazy shit to you. And he's got like he wears like this weird like kind of skiing mask, and he has like one glass eye and then like one black eye, and he looks really fucking weird. You know what I mean? And in the second movie, The Collection, he I think he puts like a whole SWAT team or something like that through like this house of like booby traps, kind of like the kid from Home Alone on like Grown Up. You know what I mean? But he's a badass, and he's got like a blade, and it was just cool, dude. It was to me it seemed pretty cool. I saw I think both of them in the movies at the time, because 10 years ago I would see every single horror movie that came out every week. Right. We'd always go on Tuesday, me and the lady, and we just stopped. But I don't give a fuck what it was, as long as it's a horror movie, I'm watching. Yeah. And, those were two. You know, and Juan, he was nothing back then. I remember like because he just did Dead Silence and then Death Sentence with Kevin Bacon. I'm like, I like this director, and I would watch his behind the scenes shit, and he was a lot like the whole horror movies. You know what I mean? Like the ones. So, but I understand what Corey's saying though. There's not that really many that iconic characters, even in pop culture in general, comics, horror. There is some, but they're just not as there's not a plentiful amount like there was in the 80s.
I thought Malignant gave us a wonderful one.
Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely, yeah. Don't want to give spoilers away on that, but I really got a kick out of Malignant. And I think that's a very memorable character. That's a very memorable villain, a Batman villain, quite clearly.
Yeah, you could put that character in any comic like that. I will be surprised if DC doesn't like make a and Warner doesn't make a like a horror line of James Wan fucking movies or some shit. I think they did actually, The Conjuring or some shit. Maybe not. I thought they did though, but.
By the way, I just looked up The Collector on IMDb, so I could check those out, because I never watched them, because I was just like, those came out around the time of the torture porn era.
Yeah, and
I was just like,
it is torture porn, like it does tiptoe in that genre, but it's a little different.
Okay, I'll check it out.
I liked them more than all the Saw movies put together. I liked them both. The second one though, it kind of tiptoes in a little more action. I think there's a SWAT team in that one, and he's like fucking The Collection. He has to, I think, deal with a SWAT. I want to go back and watch them both.
I love watching SWAT teams get fucked up in movies.
I think that's what. And he fights one of them, and it has that guy. It has one of the actors from has one of the actors from that show Oz in it. The white guy, he's in there. Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever read. I'm assuming you have Batman Year One by Frank Miller and David Mazzucchelli.
Yeah, I have it.
Yeah, one of my favorite scenes in that is where they blow up this building that Batman's in, and it's clearly a allusion to the move bombing in Philadelphia, where they just like dropped a bomb on this house where a bunch of black militants lived, and burned the whole neighborhood down. Just fuck it, right? And there's that wonderful cover of the SWAT team going through the ruins, and Batman's behind them about to whip their ass
with like some smoke, right? Like from the rubble and shit. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I like that. That's why I want to see the new Batman. There's a lot of scenes in there taken from that fucking book, believe it or not.
It looks very Batman Year One.
He's gonna have internal monologue, dude. Internal dialogue. That's what I want to see. I want to hear Batman talking like the internal monologue. I want to see that in the movie. We haven't seen that yet.
Oh wow, they're gonna do a voiceover.
Yeah, that's allegedly like 95% that's gonna happen in the fucking movie. They're gonna make
people are gonna be pissed about that. Critics are going to be pissed about that. You're like, that's a big no-no. You're not allowed to do that. I mean, I don't give a fuck. I like over voices. I think the over voice in Blade Runner, for instance, is great. Gives it more of like a Philip Marlowe feel.
Almost detective noir in some ways sometimes too, you know? That's how I would write characters, you know what I mean? Because I want people to know what they're thinking, depending on the story, you know what I mean?
Right.
But if it's like a hero or a detective or a fucking investigator, you got to know, you know what I mean?
Right, right.
He's talking about Candyman. The Candyman was a good original character. Watched the originals last year, but I don't know how good the new one is. I heard the new one is pretty woke.
I've heard it's
the
woke.
Candyman, the original story that Clive Barker wrote. Yeah,
brutal. Yeah, great stuff.
Well, I was gonna say that the original one that he doesn't look anything like he does in the well, he's a totally different character. The one that Clive Barker wrote, the director changed it around. I watched a documentary on it. In the book, he's like white guy, long white hair, part of like English aristocracy. Yeah, it's in England, right? He has yellow eyes.
Right.
Like, damn, that sounds fucking awesome. They should remake it and just do that. Like, just fucking.
That would be great. That would be great. But of course, we have to have woke versions of everything now.
Yeah, I think the first two probably Candyman were good. You know what I mean? Like, maybe just leave it there. You know.
Well, yeah, but you know that they're gonna have to get into that franchise and mess with it. I've heard that it's woke, but that it's good. So it's not like painfully woke.
I'll check it out.
It has like some woke bits. Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of disinterested, but yeah, I'll give it a look at some point.
I'll tell Corey though, for sure. Like, I definitely recommend. You might not like it, Brian, but I love the Hatchet Victor Crowley character. He goes up there with Jason and Freddy, and it has, Jason's in it. Jason plays Victor Crowley. It's straight up slasher gore, cheesy, fucking in that genre. Kane Hodder plays him.
Yes.
Candyman's in it. He's like a witch doctor, voodoo witch doctor, because it's in New Orleans. Freddy Krueger's in it. There's all these horror actors are in it too. There's so many of them, and they're all fun. I mean, not all of them are great, but they're all pretty good, dude. Like,
right. And here's the thing. By Candyman, you meant Tony Todd. Yeah,
Tony Todd.
Yeah. Who's just a fantastic actor. I don't think that. I mean, I like the idea of characters being so iconic that we have new versions of them for successive generations.
Yeah.
But I don't know that every character needs that.
Yeah, I'm really like, I don't know. I guess it depends on what mindset I'm in, but I'm really like in an idea of like creating new characters. You know what I mean? And going back and looking at the old ones too sometimes. I mean, maybe sometimes we can get like a remake of some character, like The Thing. What John Carpenter did with that was really good.
Classic.
The new It, they remade that. That's arguable. You know, some people 50-50. I like the Tim Curry one more, but a lot of people like the Skarsgård one. You know,
I think of that as a new adaptation rather than a remake. I think if it's based on a literary source or a theatrical source, that you just have like new versions of these these classic stories, as opposed to remakes of old movies where I think they shouldn't be remaking good movies; they should be remaking shit movies.
Yeah,
like movies that sucked, that had like great concepts, or were like that close to being great, and then just like slipped and fell on their faces. Remake those,
right? And then,
but they never do.
I'm not opposed to them making like a part 10 to like a movie that maybe they had 6 of that were decent back in the 80s, and maybe they're kind of whack. But then they decided, hey, you know what? Let's make a part 10 of this, and let's take it serious. That way, you keep all the established lore, and like, oh, they're gonna make a part 10 of this fucking horror movie, and it's gonna keep canon. It's gonna be canonical, and then they're hiring this fucking actor, and you go watch it, like, hey, it was pretty good, and it stayed in canon. Like, you don't really see that much. Like, people don't have they kind of want to rebrand it that way they can do whatever with it,
Well, because they know that it was successful in the past, so it'll be successful now.
Yeah, the name, right?
Well, yeah, and because they don't want to take chances. And to a certain degree, I can understand that when they're dropping like $100 million, $200 million on a stupid movie. But that's why I also think that they should be making smaller budget movies.
Yeah, I think small budget's the way to go for everything. You know what I mean? No matter what genre. Especially horror.
I mean, like the Shang-Chi movie, that should have been like a
50 million.
20 million. Yeah, let's say 50. Just a badass martial arts movie, and audiences would
Oh
have
yeah,
gone crazy because they've
yeah,
never
you're right.
seen that shit.
Yeah, that
So
should have
if
been
you
as cheap as possible, focused on just fucking martial arts, dude.
if you took like regular people and you dropped them in a movie that had that glossy like Disney Marvel sheen to it, but you had like kick-ass martial arts fight scenes like you had in The Raid or
Yeah,
On
Raid.
Bach and The Protector, Chocolate, Raging Phoenix, that sort of a thing. The Night Comes for Us.
They should have
People
made
would
it
have
like
they
that
would
one
have
movie we
shot their
watched.
loads.
Remember that one
They
movie
would,
with the 10? What was it? That movie we watched that we reviewed like a month or two back. You know, where the black dudes fighting the fucking dudes in the subway. You know what I mean?
oh yeah.
They should have made it like
The
that. That would have been cool, dude. And made it like a fucking like a 70s style movie. You know what I mean? The new
Devil's
Shang.
Express.
Yeah, and then
Yeah,
gave it like a little bit of like horror and like Chinese mysticism for like a lower
yes.
budget. That would have been something,
Oh my,
different. You know?
oh my God! But they blew it. They blew it in a major way. They're just like, oh well, we need Chinese people. Well, who are we gonna get? We need an Asian cast. Oh well, there's that show, Crazy Rich Asians. I know that. So let's get that dude.
Yeah.
What?
Nah,
Not
I would
Iko
have been
Uwais, not
like,
fucking
dude,
Tony Jaa. Like, oh, it's dumb
I would have made it like Big
motherfuckers,
Trouble in
man.
Little China. It would have been like that.
Yes,
It would have been like that, and
more martial arts.
it would have been like and like a real John Carpenter like horror Chinese mysticism feel to it, where it's scary, like you're getting scared about like some old um Oriental demon that you can't really
Right.
put your finger on, but you can feel. You know what I mean?
Yes.
That's how I felt
Yes.
when I watched Big Trouble in Little China and I see Lil Pan. You know what I mean? That's
Right.
just
That's a
something
great character.
terrifying about him and the power that he brings.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And if you're in the 80s watching it, you feel even more. Now, maybe if you're like a millennial or something, you go and watch it, you're like, oh, what's this? You don't really feel it as much because, I don't know, the world is a little different now, But that's
an
how
amazing movie.
Yeah, that movie's amazing, dude.
It's one of those, it never gets tired. It never gets old.
It's lightning in a bottle too, because they will remake that one day and it won't be as good. I don't really see them.
Oh God, I heard The Rock's interested in.
He's been trying, dude. He's been trying. Yeah, he's been trying to get John Carpenter to do it with them too. It might happen one day.
If they give Carpenter the opportunity to direct it, he'll say yes. But there's no way that they're going to fund a $200 million movie and let somebody old like him direct it.
The Rock said he's like, we're trying to get John Carpenter somehow, like in some capacity, to work on the movie. I don't know what he's going to do.
He'll do the score.
Just something.
It's like the new. It's like the new Blumhouse Halloween movies. He does the soundtracks to those.
Did you see?
Right.
Oh yeah. You see Jungle Cruise?
No.
So I watched it. It's a fucking Pirates of the Caribbean movie, bro.
Look, I love me some Rocky Johnson. He was like one of the best
I liked it,
wrestlers.
dude. It was fun. It was pretty
Not
fun
as
movie.
a wrestler, but like
surprised.
Gift of Gab. He's like on like the same level, in my opinion, as a Ric Flair or Dusty Rhodes or one of those dudes. You know what I mean? In terms of just being like one of the funniest pro wrestlers like ever.
Have you seen any of the pirate movies with Johnny Depp?
I saw the first one, and
so they're all the same. They're all the same. They all have the same thing. Like there's a monster version of a pirate in each movie.
Right.
So the first one they're zombies. The second one they're like sea monsters. I think like the third one they're straight up like zombies. And then the fourth one they're like floating like aquatic zombies. And this one they straight up they're conquistadors. I don't want to spoil the movie because it has like
I'm not going to watch it anyway.
Has a twist, but it's a fucking ride. Like it's literally a ride. Yeah. And in the movie, he's a fucking he's a con artist. The Rock is, and he takes people through the Jungle Cruise on the rides. Yeah, and he even has like shit set up, and he's working with like the tribes out there to like fucking extort money from people. And what's her head's in there from the Wolfman? I forgot her name. And Emily Blunt's in there, but
she's always great. I think.
It's just a mindless, fun, like popcorn movie. What I liked about those old what I liked about the pirate movies is the sword fighting and things like that, and the adventure, and they're cheesy. But yeah, they had it in there, and they had these conquistadors that are like they put a spell where they're like attached to this river. They can't leave the jungle river. And one of the dudes is made out of like bees and honey, like he's all fucked up. And then another dude is
nice.
made out of snakes. So with like
Ooh.
all these fucking, I'm like, I like shit like that. I like characters, like
I do
characters, because it's tiptoes and and the Rock's just fucking them all up and cutting them all up and shit. And
I'll watch that.
I'm into that shit, dude. I was like, what? Am I liking this shit? I'm like, and I'm like watching more. I'm like, oh, it's a fucking pirate movie. I'm like, I like this shit. I don't give a fuck.
You know what I really enjoyed?
It wasn't really woke.
Right. Yeah, well, I mean,
it wasn't really woke or anything. It's a fucking period piece too, by the way, So.
Well, yeah, I mean, I was thinking like, oh, I thought it was going to be like a remake of like the African Queen, because that's what it looked like to me. It looked like a really buff bogey with the hat and the tramp steamer and all that. And so I was thinking, oh, he's going to be bogey and Emily Blunt. What was that?
And they have Metallica in there. Metallica is Nothing Else Matter was the main theme to the whole movie.
Really?
But it was just the acoustic part playing. Yeah.
Okay.
And there's a lot of conquistador shit in the movie. And Amazon tribes and shit, There's a lot you could do with that too. I'm like, damn, this shit could be cool if it wasn't Disney, like the concept. But
the one movie that like the one movie that The Rock was in, because I generally don't, like I said, a big fan, but if he had come around in like the 80s, early 80s, he could have been like Schwarzenegger. It's just like he's had the misfortune of coming along, becoming like a Hollywood movie star when Hollywood movies generally just suck ass.
Oh, he's woke as fuck and he's cucked and he's he's horrible in that regard.
Well, he's got some
fun movies.
Yeah, you better be.
Survive, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Like the one movie that he was in that I really enjoyed, surprisingly, was Rampage. But then they fucked the ending up. They fucked the ending up. I was like, oh my god, if the ending had been if they had ended it the way it was supposed to have ended, it would have been great. I would have been like, that was fucking good. But they blew the fucking ending. It's like they don't understand that kids like their entertainment sometimes to be a little dark. Because that should have had a sad ending. Right?
Yeah. He should have died, right?
That's absolutely. He should have been like this. He should have smiled at him and gone like this, and then.
Hey, that movie was probably better than like Kong versus Godzilla, dude.
which I really enjoyed too. I enjoyed that as well.
Yeah, I don't know, dude. Like just
the whole
I don't know.
New retro wave color scheme. Well, look, you've got Kong floating around in zero gravity in fucking Pellucidar.
Yeah.
Right? At the Earth's core, because that's what it is. It's like core, from Edgar Rice Burroughs shit.
Yeah, and
I was just like, that's insane.
You ever read in like Journey to the Center of the Earth, and you ever read a Batman Odyssey by Neil Adams? It's like a newer one, like in the past 10 years. Batman goes down there. He goes to the center of the Earth. It's fucking long, weird book. His books are fucking far out, dude. Like sci-fi, noir, action, adventure, Batman shit. And then he goes down into there, and it becomes a fucking Edgar Rice Burroughs novel. He goes down there. There's all these lizard people that live in the middle of the earth, and there's a Batman, like it's weird, and a Robin in there. It's the Hollow Earth.
Yeah, I mean the whole Hollow Earth thing is just the shit.
Yeah,
I love it. I love it to pieces, and that's one of the things I loved about Kong versus Godzilla.
Yeah, I love that too. I was like, this shit's tight. Yeah.
Hollow Earth, deal with it.
Same here. I was like, go down there. I want to see fucking Kong's like ancestors. They fucking made all that shit. Let's see those motherfuckers. Let's see some more monsters in the middle of the earth. Like that's what I came for. I didn't even want him to leave, to be honest. I wanted him to stay down there.
I want to see him fucking fight some dinosaurs and shit.
Yeah, I want to see him fight some weird fucking demon shit down there. You know what I mean?
Oh.
Fuck. I mean, Godzilla. They'll fight eventually. But,
right.
Yeah, the movie was all right, dude. I don't know.
One comic.
I don't know, dude.
One comic I highly recommend that I just absolutely love to pieces was Tarzan versus Predator, and it was set in Pellucidar.
Perfect. Oh damn!
Right?
That's a Hollow Earth, right?
Yeah, at the Earth's core.
Oh man.
Yeah, and so,
wow.
So
does it get any like perfect than that? That's
no, it doesn't.
The only thing I would say would be put Rambo in there too.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, I love there was I really enjoyed Tarzan on the Planet of the Apes. I enjoyed the Star Trek Planet of the Apes crossover. I thought
Yeah.
that was incredibly fun. That's one of the things that's great about comics is like, you don't have to have like $100-200 million budget. You can just do it in a comic and it works, you know? And it's
Did you
just
see the Will
fun.
Ferrell Land of the Lost movie?
No. Is it worthwhile?
It was stupid, but it was fun. It was fun.
Okay.
I don't know
Okay.
why. It was fun. But I like movies like that have dinosaurs in them and just like Ice Age and anything like 10,000 BC. I enjoyed that movie. I didn't buy it or nothing, but I enjoyed watching it. Did you see that one?
I don't think so.
That one was crazy. They had giants like in there, like running shit, like in the pyramids. You know, like these evil fucking beings with like these big headdresses. Like
Oh my God.
They had some scary shit in there. Some movies you just got to watch one time. You know what I mean?
Right.
You just say, all right, that was. I enjoyed this. Fuck it.
Not everything.
You know what I'm watching right now?
Yeah.
You ever see Primal?
Oh no!
Primal?
It looks fucking fantastic.
Oh,
who's like
sick.
what channel
I'm watching
is
that
on?
right now?
I gotta pirate
it's
that
on,
shit.
It's on it's on HBO Max because it's on HBO Max because it's on Adult Swim. It's just the first season, but it's all silent. Like there's no because it's prehistoria, you know.
Right.
And it's just wow. Well, it's this caveman and his buddy T-Rex that are going around. They have to work together to survive in the Jurassic period or wherever period it takes place.
I've
heard
brutal, about it,
and it's primal.
Gotta see that shit. It looks fucking
amazing. Was it Passion for Drawing got me onto that? And I thought, I forgot about it too, and it was like, oh, he reminded me of it. This was a few months back. I'm like, I'm gonna check that out. I'm like, that looks kind of like Conan or something like that. You know what I mean? And the dude looks like a caveman mixed with Conan.
I was thinking Tor, which is by Why am I blanking on his name?
Kubert, right?
Kubert.
Not
yes,
Kubert,
Joe
right?
Kubert.
Is it? Yeah.
Yeah, that was actually the last
I had to
thing
be careful because I have a character called Tor, but it's a bull and it's got an E at the end. So.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, nobody. It's it's Tor Johnson. Toro. Right. Oh, and speaking of which, we should probably boogie, but first, let's do a little bit of shilling because we never shill here, and I think at the very least we got to show you. Butch Cleaver 2, bitches. Do you want me to play the trailer or anything you want to tell these? All right, first let's watch the trailer.
Well, I don't think there's any sound.
It makes me want to get in the mosh pit. Too bad I'm too old for the mosh pit.
I was gonna tell you, I don't think there was any sound playing on my end.
Oh, there wasn't? God damn it!
No.
Oh,
it's all good.
Me.
It's always next time.
All right. Yeah, you can. I'm still learning how to do the streaming thing, man. But anyway, everybody, go check out Butch Cleaver 2. Go back Butch Cleaver 2. Matt here is what indie comics is all about. That's to say, somebody that used to just hang out in the chats is like, screw it, I'm gonna throw my hat in the ring, and I can't wait to get my copies of this and the first one. How is production going, by the way?
Pretty good. I'm almost done with the lettering right now. I'm gonna be doing an update. Well, I'm doing a monthly update, so probably in December. I like to kind of wait till stuff bunches up so I can let people know. So almost done with the lettering. Then I'll go into some editing, and I'll probably do a little bit of behind the scene features. and
Nice.
we should be starting fulfillment in April. And
And
yeah,
look at
there's
all this,
still a bunch
all
of
this stuff.
tchotchkes.
Lots of
A lot
tchotchkes.
of stuff. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people. I'm hearing a lot of people don't really care that much, but I personally I like getting all that shit from different
I don't.
campaigns. But that's
I
just me.
don't.
Like
I
most people
don't
don't.
need it. I don't need
I
it.
don't need it,
I
but
enjoy it.
I keep it in the because everything comes in Gemini mailers, and then I just keep everything in the Gemini mailer, and then I stack them up, and then I get a Sharpie and I write on the Gemini mailer what the book is.
Right.
But most people put them on a shelf where they look nice and presented. You know, I'll probably do that.
Yeah. No, I do like exactly what you do, except if I get stickers, I gotta use them shits. Because
oh yeah, for sure.
Check that out.
I'm gonna be sending you some stickers.
Oh yeah. Those are going on my PC for sure. And
how's a 6-gun gorilla going? Oh, there we go.
6-gun gorilla is 6-gun gorilla is going good. It's going good. It could be going better. The campaign's chugging along. We're like at 11K. I think that once the book is ready and it's out, because this is the first time I've ever done Indiegogo in such a way that, well, the way that it's supposed to be done, which is to say, you raise the money, you make the book. Before this, I always had a finished book, but it is going well, because I think we're on page 19 right now. Is the last one I got from Preston. The great Preston Acevedo, of course, picking up art duties from the late great Adrian Sibar. He's doing a really beautiful job. Ollie from 656 is killing it with the colors. And I just can't wait for this to be finished and out in people's hands, because I think people are going to get a really, really big kick out of it. You can also get, if this is like issue 8. So if you're a newcomer to 6-Gun Gorilla, the featured perk, you can get all the issues for like $100. And you can also get the original trade paperback, which is issues 1 through 6, and with a new cover by Mr. Vincent Tartamella. And also, if you want to shop a la carte, just get the first issue. You're missing like issue 2 or 3, whatever. Issues 1 through 7, you can just order those by themselves. There's 2 covers for the new one. One of them is Adrian's, which is the last piece of art, last piece of 6-Gun Gorilla art he finished before he passed away. I always get a kick out of looking at it because it's so cheerful. But then also Preston made this like whip ass Iron Maiden parody cover from what was it? The cover to the single for Stranger in a Strange Land. This is also available as a poster for $20. And let me tell you, if you take a close look at this, there are Comicsgate Easter eggs out the ass. Like they're everywhere.
That's
you know,
sweet,
you
dude.
really, you got to go over that with a fine tooth comb with a magnifying glass, and you will find shit. It's metal as fuck. And also, got the 6-Gun Gorilla figurine. It's my very first time offering a figurine. It's the original's 3D printed. I'm making silicone molds and resin casts. So these are going to be handmade by yours truly and signed and numbered, because I'm only making 50 of these things. That's because I know it's going to be like, yeah. Well, I mean, you know, if I do more of those at some point, there would be something different about them. Do you know what I mean? It would be like a different color resin or something. It's different the same post. Thing. Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing with the graphic novel, the trade paperback. I was like, that's it. I'm not doing a trade paperback anymore. I'm just doing floppies. because people would get confused. They'd be like, well, why is one book $35 and the other one is like 15? I'm like, well, because the first one is 6 comics, right? And it was confusing for people. And but then people were telling me like, hey, I want the trade paperback. And I was like, okay, well, if we're going to put the trade out again, I might as well have something to it that is unique to the campaign, which is a exclusive campaign exclusive cover by Vinny Tartamella. And he did a beautiful job, as you can see here.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
Badass looking. But yeah, no, I intend on doing getting on some more streams and renewing the push for this book, because I'm adding new stuff all the time. There's trading cards coming up. All the people that back the everybody who backs the campaign, who is on the pre-campaign mailing list, is going to get a free exclusive trading card by Shelby Robertson.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that's that right there. And there's the miniature, and that's enough of my shilling. Everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. It's greatly appreciated. Don't forget to smash that like button and the subscribe button and that little bell if you want to be aware of whenever we're doing it, whenever we do a new video. Matt, anything you want to say to these fine, wonderful people before we call it a night?
Just be bold, be brave, and roll the bones to know your role.
There it is. As Johann Wolfgang von Goethe said, be bold and mighty forces will come to your aid. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. Oh, well, what the fuck are we going to watch next week? Should we? Well, we don't have to decide on something, but do you have any suggestions?
Not off the top of my head. Do you?
No. Let's see. I don't know. We haven't done anything Frankenstein related. Maybe we should do something Frankenstein related.
I don't know. With that.
Yeah, we'll discuss it in the DM group. Anyway, people, peace and love. We will talk to you soon, and stay scared. Peace.